Hey, how you doing? I'm in my room. Um, I just wanted to touch base with you and here I think I'll light a candle. You can't see it, but it makes me happy. Sorry. I can show it to you. It's a rock. Because that's how I roll. Okay, enough of that. So I just rearranged this entire space today because I put a little heater in here, like a little electric fireplace thing. And it's so cute. And this whole room is so nice and comfortable. And I probably should show you around. Should I show you now? Want to see it now? Okay. All right. So I got to get up, take this off the tripod, and then I'll just scan around the room. Okay. Or I'll just hold it in the tripod. So I'm sure you can see. Let's go to the doorway. And let me try to turn it around, actually. All right, so this is what it's like going into the space. I've got this beautiful mural that's on the wall that makes it look like inside of a cave. And if you turn this overhead light off, it really looks like it. Anyway, so I've got a crystal bowl down there. And that, God dang it. And that box is a handmade wooden box that I inherited from my father-in-law. And it has all precious things in it. And there's the little fireplace. I should turn it on so you can see what it's like. Okay, I will. Here we go. Oh. Okay. Isn't that nice? It's just so cool and warm because it does heat the room up. Actually, I just made the room smaller. Okay. Anyway, so there's my window and there's my bookshelf. And there's where I sit to do my things. And there's my little steampunk lamp that I made. And that rug, my mom bought that rug about, I don't know, man, 40 or 50 years ago. And as soon as I saw that laying on her floor in her house when I went over there one time, I pointed to it and I said, that's going to be mine someday. Because I love prehistoric stuff, as you might be able to tell. Anyway, I made this tabletop on this sewing machine thing. And there's my dragon. God, I love that dragon. There's my rock candle. And you see these interesting looking things that are right there. Okay. Those are leg coverings from Tibetan monks way back in the day. And you can tell when you're looking at them, they're super old. And then up here, I made that rock thing. And there's a amethyst. And here's my bookshelf. The lion is one of my spirit animals. And a chipmunk is the other one. Anyway, I have all these tools and bowls and crystals, and to tell you the truth, I don't know how to use some of them, but I'm learning. There's a couple of things like I'm a certified life coach, and I'm ordained through 20 years of service at a place called Celebrate Jesus. Fantastic pastor. named Barbie Freeman, who is gone now, but God, that looks nice. Jeez, sometimes your house looks so much better on camera. I don't know what the deal is. Yeah, this is where I live, man. And if you book a session with me, this is where you'll come. And then I've got outside is really cool. And oh yeah, this is one of my favorite corners. I'm in love with my house. I can't help myself. Here's my kitchen. And there's my little office back there. Anyway, that's where I live. This is where I live. All right, so then back to my room. And I'll sit you down. Anyway, yeah, that's my space. Or my spaces, I should say. Yeah, it's so peaceful here. I mean, man, I don't know what the deal is. Well, you know, I have to say I do know what the deal is because I try very hard and have tried very hard. Well, I'm not going to say, because, you know, I'm not just trying to be real here. I suppose if it was somebody else doing it, I could say it was hard work. But for me, it's just what I do, man. I just love creating and curating spaces, peaceful, beautiful spaces. And I like doing that. I can't always do it. You know, gifts are kind of like that sometimes. Talents are kind of like that. Sometimes you got it, sometimes you don't. But I've had it enough consistently that I've always lived in very comfortable and beautiful environments. And I don't really know feng shui, but apparently I intuitively feng shui every space I have. Over the years, I had a feng shui master one time tell me that he thought it was a joke when I hired him because my entire house and yard and everything, he said, you have done everything that you should do. And you don't know feng shui? Like maybe I was a feng shui master in a past life. I don't know. But I do enjoy creating beautiful, comfortable spaces to be, you know, just to be. I want people to feel comfortable in my home. I don't want them to feel like they can't touch anything or do anything or dirty it up. It is tidy, but I'm more of a neat freak than I am a clean freak. Although, you know, I don't have mold growing in my fridge or anything like that anymore. My daughter always gets on me about that, man. She comes over here and she'll check the pull dates on anything in my fridge, my cupboards. She questions everything. Probably because I've left some stuff in my fridge that I've had for a long time. I don't know. Anyway, what did I start to talk about initially? Well, I was going to show you my room for one thing. So I might just leave it at that for this video. I do have, you know, when you come to have a session with me, there's a little bowl of stones. This, and I ask each person that's sitting in my chair there to pick one of these 4 stones to just fiddle with while they're in session with me. This one is a moonstone. They're all heart-shaped. This one's a moonstone. This one is a selenite. And that absorbs a lot of negative energy. This one is the rose quartz. I should wonder how you can see that better. Anyway, it's a little rose quartz. Rose quartz is all about love. Probably harmonizes the heart. And then this one, I have never heard of before, but I bought it for this purpose because it's called the Golden Healer. And my friend Jade probably knows exactly what that's about. I probably should look it up because somebody's going to ask me and I want to know the answer. Anyway, so I have them in this little selenite bowl. And when you come to have a session with me, I'll say, pick one of these and hold on to it, fondle it, whatever, while we're talking. And it'll probably just help. Probably just help you. Anyway, so there's that. What else do I have? I have lots of books because I'm always studying something. There's my human design book. I have all the human design books. There's my Gene Keys book because it goes along with human design. Here's what they call the Black Book, human design. So anyway, I draw from a lot of different books that I have in here. I have oracle cards, I have tarot cards, I have crystal books, I have all of the woo-woo, witchy woo-woo stuff. So, you know, when I was younger, probably a teenager, probably around 15, 16, I started getting really interested in witchcraft and demonology and all sorts of bizarre types of things. And I was trying to use my mind to move or control objects or whatever. And I'm, you know, little part of my brain was going, what are you doing? What are you doing? But I was just not necessarily full-on obsessed or anything, but very drawn to things like that. And astrology and all that. There wasn't such a thing back then as human design or Gene Keys or any of this stuff. In fact, it was hard to find anything even about personality types. There was a Myers-Briggs, you know, but nobody knew about that I talked to. And I used to ask my mom when I was a kid, why are we different? Why am I the way I am and you're the way you are and Dad's the way he is? Why are we all different? I wanted to know why we were different. And she says, honey, nobody knows that. And I said, well, they better figure it out because I need to know. I mean, even when I was a kid, I was pretty obsessed with knowing stuff. And I remember talking to my dad one time. I don't know. I must have been a teenager, maybe in my 20s. And I was talking to him and I said, I don't know what the deal is, man. I just want to know everything. I just love to know things. I love to learn. And I don't know why. And he said, well, it's not so important that you know everything. It's just important to know where to go to find out. And that was before the internet or anything like that. I used to just dream of finding a sage on a hill somewhere where I could talk to him and ask him questions. And God dang, man. As soon as the internet was born, I must have been in my, I must have been in my 30s, you know, mid to late 30s when the internet was born. And oh my God, I was just like, I'm in seventh heaven. Oh my gosh. And I had never even touched a computer before that. Really. So I just hunt and pecked and figured out how to use it. Next thing you know, within weeks, I was using it at this church I was going to, and I was creating flyers and business cards and newsletters, and I was off and running. Anyway, so back to my dad. So he said, yeah, you just need to know where to go find out. Now that there's AI, oh my God. you know, I was born this time at the right time. Because I might be a late, uh, what would you call me? I was born just before the Gen X. So I'm a late baby boomer, believe it or not. So I fell in love with computers, the internet, all the programs, video games, you name it. I was into technology as deep as I could get. And I kept telling my pastor, I said, I'm the publications director. And he's like, oh, really? Well, we don't have a publications department. I said, not yet. And so, then the rest is history. But another story. But anyway, so I have just bottom line is what I'm trying to say, because I take rabbit trails and I beat around the bush a lot. I feel very spiritual. I'm a spiritual person, apparently. I'm not a religious person at all, but, and I'm not even a typical spiritual person. One time I met Donna Eden, and for any of you who know her, you'll remember that she is called the Queen of Energy Medicine. She lived here in Ashland, and she has a couple daughters that do all this kind of work too. But I met her one time at a talk that she was giving on muscle testing and energy work and stuff. And I mean, I was still going to church back then, but man, I was getting excited about all these other things. So one of the significant things about Donna, first off, she's just like the most joyful, delightful, bright light human you'd ever want to meet, and sweet woman. Donna Eden, look her up. Anyway, so she meets me, and she sees auras. I'm not sure what you call that. I think it's synesthesia or something like that. Anyway, she sees your aura. She sees color. She sees the flow. She sees it all. So she meets me. I buy her book. She signs my book in the colors that she saw in my aura. And she said, wow, you have this brilliant brilliant green core. And you're surrounded with crystal blue light. And at the top, there's violet, which is pretty common for spiritual people. But you also have it at the bottom of your aura. And that's quite unusual. And I thought, I'm going to have to look that up, whatever that means. So anyway, fast forward like probably 8 years or something. And me and my friend Noelle went to Sedona, Arizona, because that's kind of like the mecca of woo-woo. And we were just like looking around for psychics or some kind of readings or whatever, because we're fairly new at that type of thing. Even though at the time we were going through a coaching certification program, which was based on law of attraction. Anyway. So we see this aura reading, and we go in there, and every single thing about that place was perfection. The colors they used, the paper they printed things on, their signage, the furniture in their waiting room, the people, the art on the wall, you name it. I just marveled, because not very many people are that tuned into things like that. So I go in to do an aura reading, and I'm in the back of my mind, I'm remembering what Donna said. Green, blue, indigo at the top and the bottom. So I go in there, and this aura reading was a machine. So you lay your hand on this flat metal thing, And he pulls it up on the computer, and I couldn't see the monitor, but he said, wow, that's kind of unusual. And I said, what's that? And he turns the monitor around, and it was like a literal visual representation of exactly what Donna Eden said. And I'm like, whoa, they each confirmed each other, you know? So I know that's the colors of my aura. And then, as if that wasn't enough, they printed off, I have it right here, they printed off a lovely aura report. And every word of this thing, I mean, you can see it. I don't know if you can see it in here. Not very well, but anyway, so the whole aura report, there's several pages to it, and it's, oh my God, it's just, in fact, the place is called, if you're interested and you ever go to Sedona, it's called Heartlight. And now I know that when I put something like this up to the screen, I know you can see it the right way. When I'm looking at my screen right now, it's backwards. So I thought it was backwards for you. But no, you get to read it right. Anyway, it's called Heartlight. Beautiful people. Awesome, excellent work that they do. That's fun. Anyway, so I've always kind of been drawn to stuff like that. Now, I'm also like a pinball. And so I study this, and then I study that, and then I study this, and that, and this, and that, and this, and that. And I can't even hardly keep up with myself. I bounce around like daily. Like human design, I'll study that almost every day. Astrology, almost every day. Any of the other things that I've dabbled in that are like on the back of my business card, I do that randomly, but I have my specific, I'm always studying about health. Like my son's in the 6th house, which is about health and service. And gene keys, I do that on a whim. I'm just intuitively drawn and led to whatever it is I'm going to study. So I didn't necessarily expect to be this way as I got older. I've probably only been into this stuff for probably a dozen years. That's it. Not that long. And I'm not the kind of person that takes courses really, other than that life coaching course I took, which was a year long. It was quite extensive, and I got a certification. But I'm a what they call autodidactic. And that means I'm a self-studier. I just do really well if I'm just left to my own devices and I have all the time in the world and a computer. And I will just study my brains out. And I'll usually do that like all morning, sometimes all off and on throughout the day, depending on what I have to do. So I'm not an astrologer, although I know a thing or two. I have an astrology group that I started because I wanted to learn more. So I just invited astrologers and other people that know more than me. And I learn. I'm always talking to people that are certified people that are into these things. And I have all like really good astrologers and intuitives and stuff. I'm just surrounded with healers, and I love that kind of thing. So I am kind of a mixed bag, and there's not one box you can put me in. So, but when you sit down with me in my room here, you can bet I'm going to be tapped in not only to spirit, into my own intuition, but also into what you're saying to me. And between the three of us, we will figure out how to help you in whatever way you came to me for. I'm pretty good at troubleshooting stuff. I'm pretty good at life makeovers. But again, I'm undefinable. And for many years, people would say, so what do you do for a living? It's kind of hard to describe. I hate that question because I don't really do anything for a living. Like, that's a weird question. I suppose most people have a job or a career, and that makes a lot of sense. And they can say, well, I'm an accountant, or I'm a clerk in a store, whatever. Well, I'm none. I'm a lot of different things. So, like they say, like the jack of all trades, master of none. So, but, I don't feel like I need to necessarily master anything. I just am what I am. I am Sam. Sam I am. Anyway, so I rattled on. I have no idea how long this is. Oh, 25 minutes. That's nothing compared to how I can. So, I want to see my human design chart. I've been working on this morning. So that's what a human design chart looks like. And if you come to me for human design, know that I've studied this daily for probably 9 or 10 years now. And I know some stuff. I never took a course to be a reader. But I probably know more than you do about it if that's what you're coming to me for. Anyway, so yeah, everybody's is different, kind of like a natal chart. Everybody's got different placements. And your natal chart is embedded in this design, in this chart. It's wildly fascinating for some people, maybe not for you. I went insane when I saw this chart and have been studying it from that day on. Some people are like that. Some people could care less. They just look at it and it looks confusing and they'd rather just go, I got to go to work now or whatever. So yeah, there's that. And I guess for now that's it. I'll wrap it up and I'll be back on here pretty soon. Whenever I get a crazy, wild, whimsical idea or a thought I want to share with you, and then we'll talk again. Now, what I'd like you to do, if you've gotten to this point in the video, is talk to me. Like, there's comments down there. You can say stuff. You can ask me questions. You can tell me you think I'm a wacko. You can say you love what I do. Whatever. I'm interested. One thing you'll notice, though, is I didn't say, if you'll hit that notification bell and like and subscribe and follow. I'm not going to ever say that because I think at this point we kind of all know that, so I'm not going to waste time with it. And I'll say it today, and I might not ever say it again, but just so you know, that's kind of where I'm at with it. If you do enjoy what I'm talking about and stuff, and you like to, for some weird reason, entertaining to you, then you know what to do. It's kind of like when you call somebody and they say leave a voicemail and they explain to you how to leave a voicemail. We don't need that at this time. This is the 21st century. I think we all kind of know what to do. Anyway, I like you and I'm glad that you're here and I'm excited for continuing my work and hearing what you have to say about what I just said. Ever. All right. So, is that it? Is that all? Do you have anything to add? I'm glad you're here. And I'm looking forward to the next time. All right. Talk to you later. Okay, bye.